Hi guys, and welcome back to Movies That Matter with the Vikings. So, I just finished watching Justice League Dark Apokolips War. Now, for someone who isn't a big comic book fan or never really got into comic books, I use the movies, the live action movies, the live action series, the animated series, and the animated movies to kind of get my knowledge and my lore of these characters. So, characters that I don't know much about, like Darkseid or Constantine or even Killer Shark, or all these characters who I haven't seen on the big screen yet a lot. This is a way for me to learn about them and to get to understand what and who their character is. So I heard huge buzz around this film, and currently I'm not big into animated DC or Marvel movies, but that is definitely changed. And getting into that genre a little bit more. Look, I love superheroes. I love superhero movies. Absolutely. So I'm definitely going to watch more. So the one I picked, now I've seen a few in this DC universe of animated movies, but I choose the last one, the very last one of this kind of run of movies to get into it. So Justice League Dark Apokolips War is basically the Justice League going against Darkseid. They see something that is going to happen, so Superman wants to take the war to Darkseid. It turns out to be a bad idea. And I didn't know what to expect in this film, but I will say this, there is no punches held back. They do whatever they want to whoever they want in this film. And it doesn't, the joys about this being the last film in this kind of universe, in this kind of slate of films, 15 films I think, is that they can do anything. They can do anything. Don't be mad that it's happening, just be happy that it's actually, you're witnessing something really cool and unique on screen. This is something that maybe just or Avengers Endgame should have been, or Avengers Infinity War should have been, or the 2017 Justice League, but that's continuing on with Zack Snyder. So you never know, elements of this story might come into Zack Snyder's world, and that would be really, really cool. But anything can happen in this animated film. Characters die brutally, not just dying off screen or just they get shot and they die. People are ripped apart. People's heads are chewed off, their legs ripped apart. Darkseid is a bad mofo. He really is. I want to see more of Darkseid on live action. I can't wait to see him in Zack Snyder's Justice League. He looks like a total badass that will do anything to get what he wants. He looks even badder than Thanos. But this film, the League take the fight to Darkseid, but Darkseid knows exactly what they're doing, so he prepares for them. And what I really liked was his kind of his army was half Parademon, half Doomsday, and they were brutal. They didn't hold back whatsoever, and they weren't there to be a stepping stone to make the Justice League look cool or make the Suicide Squad look cool. These Parademons, these half Doomsday Parademons, could have held their own against any Justice League member and could have killed them, and they did kill some of them. They did, and brutally. Now I won't give too much spoilers away in case you haven't seen it, but characters die left, right, and center in this film. Flash isn't in it that much, Cyborg isn't in it that much, but they are important to the story. Shazam is in a little bit, but he gets brutal things happening to him as well. Superman is fucked up. He's not really Superman until the final act. I really like the element between Raven and her father in her head, Trigon. That was pretty cool. And then when Trigon came out and he was going up against Darkseid, or even when he possessed Superman, those were pretty cool. The action set pieces in this film were entertaining. I really, really enjoyed them. But I'm actually fascinated how there was so many characters in this film, but they made them all work and had time to express the characters in the way that we know. Harley Quinn had her times, Captain Boomerang, Lex Luthor. Batman was internal to the story, but he wasn't there throughout the entire film. It was more following John Constantine, Superman, Raven, Damian Wayne, and then them linking up with the Suicide Squad, later finding Lois Lane, and then later finding Lex Luthor, and kind of making a plan to try and get the world back to some credibility that it used to be. But they find a broken Cyborg, they find a fucked up Flash, and it doesn't hold anything back. It's very hardcore, this film, and it's probably one of the best animated films that I have watched, and I've heard other people say that it's the best since the Flashpoint film, and that this is a pretty unique film in the genre. And I love this. I love not just films. I love stories that have stakes, that anything could happen, that the characters are going through a deep internal struggle. That's why I'm a big fan of DC movies, a little bit more than I am Marvel movies. I enjoy both, But I like the way you get into the deepness of, say, Bruce Wayne as Batman or Clark Kent in Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman. They're going through a struggle, and it's really world life themes. Everyone goes through shit. Not everyone's perfect. Even if you're a good person, you go through shit that kind of judges or kind of questions your character as a person. There's stuff that we've done that we regret in our life, and there's things that we have morals, and we're tested at times, and that tells a lot about us as a person. And superheroes are just like any other person. They go through struggles. They have superpowers, but they go through struggles about losing loved ones, about things happening. Like Superman, he loses Lois Lane in this, and at the end of the film, after they eventually, the League don't defeat Darkseid. Darkseid is much better than the League. He possesses Batman as his goon, kind of, and he has Wonder Woman and Mera protecting his I don't know what it's called, but the planet that he's on is Apokolips. That's what it's called, and he's in control. It's not like Superman beats him. He doesn't. It's Trigon who beats him, and beats him in the end. But Cyborg came up with a plan to get everyone back home on Earth and to save the day. But the film, it doesn't act like most comic book films or animated films or series. They always end on a good note. Everyone gets what they want. Everyone's happy. Everyone's excited. Everyone is living their best life. But in this film, it doesn't happen. It doesn't. At the end, they've won, but they might have have lost. They're sitting there, not even happy that they've defeated Darkseid, that they have got people back who they lost. They're not really that happy. And that's why they have to send Flash to go and do a Flashpoint again. So if anything never goes bad, just get Flash to run really fast and change everything. But all in all, this animated film has made me want to go look at the other 14 films. I've seen one or two, but go look at them more in depth. Go look at other animated films, not just from DC, but Marvel, and see how cool they are. What I like about animated films is because it's so much harder to do things on the live action sense. It's so much harder because the actors are real people who have to work or be on a film set for so many months and then go through a press tour. An animated film, you go into I'm sure it's tough and hard, but they go into a booth and they talk and they do the dialogue and stuff like that, and the people make up the film that way. But I like animated films because we can kind of picture, oh, this would be cool if it happened on the big screen in live action, but I'm okay watching it in an animated sense. Now, it's so dark, this film, and there's some very funny moments. Harley Quinn is hilarious in the film. King Shark, I forget the name of the character, I've never come across him before, the guy who hangs around with Constantine. He was pretty cool and funny. I like him. I really like Constantine. Now, I've yet to watch the Constantine live action show, and I know he appears in the CW, and I've seen a few episodes like that, but I've also watched the Keanu Reeves film. But he is a very attractive character, very interesting. I want to see more of him. I'd love to see him in live action in the DC universe, in the DCEU, and that would be pretty cool. But all in all, Justice League Dark, Apokolips War is a great film. It really, really is. And that would, I'm surprised how they made everything work, and all the characters got to express themselves, and they all were internal to the story. Really, really fascinated by that. And whoever directed the film, whoever made it, put it together, did a fascinating job. And that, for me, is probably the toughest part of this film, to make it all work in a sense. We didn't see Batman at his highest. We didn't see Superman at his highest. Flash, Cyborg, Aquaman, forget about him. Wonder Woman. We didn't. The most important characters in this film weren't in the Justice League, even though it's called Justice League. They weren't. Constantine had a great story. Damian Wayne had a great story. Lex Luthor was important. Lois Lane was important. It was kind of these, what you would regard as side characters, were the reason that they won. The reason that this film was done so well. I'm a big fan of Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman, but they weren't important to this story in that sense. The most deepness of storytelling was told through Damian Wayne and Raven and Constantine, and the dynamic and the internal struggle that they're going through. I really, really enjoyed that. And it just shows you don't have to have Batman and Superman at your forefront to make a film work. You can look at the side characters, you can progress and have character development and make those other characters likable. And I really, really did like the side characters in this film, and it worked perfectly. The Suicide Squad turning into the Justice League, kind of helping things out, and Harley Quinn. I loved seeing Cheetah, Black Manta, all these villains help out the Justice League, help out Superman, you know, people that would be fighting in comic books and live action films, and they were helping each other because the world was in shit. Everything was gone to shit. You know, Superman wanted to bring the war to Darkseid because he felt if he didn't, then that would be the end of them. But the most worst decision that Superman could have made was getting the whole team together and going to Apokolips to fight him, because it ended up being the death or the loss of the Justice League members, either by death or being possessed and used by Darkseid. And then a fast forward 2 years later, and it goes from there. And it was an hour and a half long, and I could have watched more. I really, really could have. It was really, really. There was so many shocks and things that I didn't expect to happen, and that I didn't see coming. Because with these films, you kind of say, "Oh, everything will be okay in the end, and the characters will get what they want, and they'll come back, and they'll be the Superman that you know, and they'll be the Batman that you know." But they weren't. They really, really weren't. And if you haven't seen this film, I definitely check it out. It's going to make me watch more animated films. Definitely, I'm going to go through and do more reviews on animated films. Definitely an animated series, because there is something to be had there. And this film took so many risks, and it really got my attention and my respect. And I'll definitely watch it again. I'm guessing that the other 14 films probably don't have high stakes as this one, because this one was the last one. They could really do what they wanted and made the characters do anything, and they had no repercussions because they didn't have to worry about future films. But I will go and I'll watch the other films. I might do some reviews on them as well. But all in all, have you seen Justice League Dark Apokolips? Have you seen it? Let me know what you think of it. I think it's actually brilliant. I wasn't expecting this. For someone who's not a big animation fan, I was not expecting it to be as good as it was, and I really, really enjoyed it. And the side characters made me want to get a look into their origin stories a little bit more, of Constantine and Raven. As I said, I just know them from shows and things like that. But I definitely want to see more of them on the big screen. And I hope Zack Snyder in 2021 or 2022, if he gets to progress his vision, I hope he takes elements, or maybe he already has elements, because we know we've heard stuff about Darkseid ripping Cyborg apart, or Steppenwolf or something like that, and then Flashpoint, and then the Doomsday kind of flashbacks and things like that. So that would be really cool to see on the big screen in live action, and I'm sure Zack Snyder will be able to depict it from the animation and put it on the big screen. He's done that with so much things like Watchmen, and he's already done it with the Dark Knight animated film and comics to make Batman vs Superman. So I'm really interested to see if he can do that on the big screen. But all in all, Justice League Dark Apokolips, I had a great time, really enjoyed it. Let me know what you think of it. And guys, as always, give a like, subscribe, comment, engage with me. I'm a movie fan the same that you're a movie fan. I love talking about it. Come follow me on Twitter at MovieBuff100. Come give me a tweet and let me know what you think about it. Instagram me at Movies That Matter, The Viking, and you'll also find me on Facebook at Zack Snyder's Justice League. If you haven't watched this film, I guarantee that you will not be disappointed. You will take something away from this film. And until next time, guys, stay positive.